The representative from UNICEF, the Minister of Sports, of course my beloved sisters, PPSEAWA. We do celebrate every year quietly by ourselves, reflecting on peace at this beautiful, serene garden. However, today we feel like sharing with all of you that there is a place, if you would love to come and reflect on peace. It is always open, and you're most welcome. Today, I'm honored to have everyone, and I wish you all a warm welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato. Thank you. Now we have the pleasure to listen to the UN representative, Ms. Marianne Clark-Hattin. Ms. Marianne.
Jamaluddin bin Abu Bakr, Minister of Youth and Sports, Young Rahmah, Dato, Rahmah, Abdul, Hamid, President of Pan Pacific and Southeast Asia Women's Association, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Salaman Pagi, good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be here today, and I'd like to thank Dato Rahmah and the Pan Pacific Southeast Asia Women's Association for inviting the United Nations to take part in these celebrations on the occasion of the International Peace Day. And what a wonderful and serene place to have this, the Peace Garden in Taman. The UN General Assembly created the International Day of Peace in 1981 to commemorate and strengthen the ideals of peace within and among nations and people. The theme for this year, Together for Peace, Respect, Safety and Dignity for All, is particularly pertinent given the increasing number of conflicts and the unprecedented amount of people who have been made to flee their homes around the world. 65.6 million people have been forced from home. Among them are nearly 22.5 million refugees, over half of which are under the age of 18. That's 20 people made to flee their home every minute. And we don't have to look far. The Rohingya crisis, which has displaced over 415,000 in less than a month, is a stark reminder of the hardship of suffering inflicted by conflict and war. Another 10 million people are stateless. The Rohingya count amongst them. These people have been denied a nationality and access to basic rights such as education, healthcare, employment, and freedom of movement. More than 150,000 of them live right here in Malaysia. Our obligation as an international community is to ensure that everybody forced to flee their homes receives the protection to which they are entitled under international law. Our duty as a human community is to replace fear with kindness. Many of those who flee have lost everything. Children have lost their childhoods. Their parents have lost their livelihoods. They need to be seen as human beings first, not as a burden or a threat. Throughout history, humanity owes much to those who have migrated or fled wars through their contributions to society. People like Simone Weil, feminist icon and Holocaust survivor who died earlier this year in Paris at the age of 89. Albert Einstein, Karl Marx, Sigmund Freud, Henry Kissinger, Anne Frank, Madeleine Albright, and even Steve Jobs, who was himself the son of a Syrian refugee, to name but a few. Let us recognize the many ways in which refugees and migrants can contribute to and strengthen their host countries and communities. By opening our hearts, joining hands and reaching out to refugees and migrants, we can move closer to attaining peace, prosperity and protection for all in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, namely Goal 16, that is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies. Peace is far more than the absence of war. Peace could be described as a condition of respect for dignity and the rights of every human being. Peace and harmony are crucial to sustainable development that equally belongs to all. So on this International Day of Peace, let us all pause to give thought to those millions of people who have had to flee their homes because of war and conflict, and especially to those who live right here amongst us in Malaysia. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Ms. Marianne. The event today is made even more meaningful by your presence, YB Brigadier General. As we know, you have worked tirelessly day and night to make the ASEAN Paralympics a resounding success. Thank you. It is our honor now to welcome you to deliver your words on peace, YB.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam negaraku Malaysia. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great honor to be here to be with you for this walk for peace organized by the Pan-Pacific Southeast Asia Women's Association of Malaysia, PPSEAWA, this morning. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate PPSEAWA for organizing this for the second time, a walk for peace in conjunction with the United Nations International Day of Peace, which falls on the 21st of September every year. And it's appropriate that we start this walk at this Garden for Peace in Taman Rimba, Kuala Lumpur, where this is a symbol for not just peaceful reflection, but also a symbol for the promotion of peace and security. As mentioned in the speeches earlier, the theme this year is Together for Peace, Respect, Safety and Dignity for All. The theme honors the spirit of being together, a global initiative that promotes respect, safety and dignity for everyone forced to flee their homes in search of a better life. From the United Nations, the International Day of Peace this year will focus on engaging and mobilizing people throughout the world to show support for refugees and migrants. I think the theme this year is appropriate. I think the theme this year has come at the right time for us to give attention and shine a light on people who have been displaced from their homes. As mentioned by the UNICEF representative earlier in her speech, this involves tens of millions of people, hundreds and thousands of whom have been forced to flee their homes in just the last month alone in a country very near ours. More than 400,000 Rohingya people have been forced out of their homes in Rakhine State, in neighboring Myanmar. And this has been a crisis, humanitarian crisis, which has been going on for far too long on our doorsteps. And Malaysia, as you know, took the brave decision to break from the normal protocols and diplomacy of ASEAN by speaking out against our neighboring country, by saying enough is enough, by saying we cannot tolerate and allow for an ASEAN member to be part of the community of nations for as long as this crisis continues. This is not just a crisis that involves the Rohingya people, but this is actually part of the displacement and dispossession of people that have been taking place throughout history, where they have been uprooted from their homes, where they've been forced to flee, denied their rights, and denied the right of return. And it's for us to teach and also inspire a new generation of young millennials that these issues and problems need to be spoken out against. We need to campaign against people being uprooted from their homes, being dispossessed. And of course, it's not just the Rohingya people, people in Syria, the people in Africa, of course the Palestinian people who have been denied homeland for so very, very many years, that we need to campaign and continue to speak out for people to be given their basic right, which is their homeland, which is a place they can call home. We are lucky in Malaysia that we have been in a state of not just peace, but also prosperity since independence. This is something that we take for granted sometimes. It's something that we take lightly. And I know it's something that the young generation, so generation that I represent as the Minister of Youth, it's something that they don't think about. People of my generation and the generation that's come after me, we did not go through the struggle and sacrifice of negotiating, of campaigning for independence, and of building a nation early on in this nation's history. So it's very important for the older generation, many of you who are represented here, not that old, but the older generation, to continue to engage with us, to continue to inspire us with how you've built this nation, with the creation of nationhood in Malaysia, that peace is not something that is guaranteed forever. A state of peace, which is not just the absence of war, but a country and a world in which we uphold the fundamental rights and dignity of everybody, is something that we need to continue to fight for. It may seem easy today in Malaysia because we are peaceful and we are prosperous, and we are a society which prides ourselves on our multiculturalism. But all of this can go in the blink of an eye and in a heartbeat if we don't look after it properly. Many countries around the world have been peaceful and prosperous only for an event to change that course of history overnight. And we don't want that to happen in Malaysia. We want for the International Day of Peace to continue to inspire and motivate us to preserve what we have, to reach out to those who have been displaced, to make sure that we contribute our fair share to those refugees and people who have been displaced from their homes, to continue to speak out. And Malaysia has an important role as a host country for not only refugees but also for migrant workers who have come to our country in search of a better future. And I think it is our responsibility to, as much as possible, be a gracious host and not only provide the employment opportunities and opportunities for them to live dignified lives here, but also to continue to speak out at the international fora. Malaysia has always punched above its weight in foreign policy, and we should continue to do so. Medium-sized country, but with a large voice, and a voice that continues to promote peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for once again attending the Peace Walk on the occasion of the International Day of Peace here in Kuala Lumpur. Congratulations to the President of PPSEAWA and her committee, and I hope that you will continue your good work wherever you go and whatever you do. I know the ladies of PPSEAWA are very committed and very active, and my sincere hope is that you can impart that spirit of wanting to preserve and promote peace to the younger generation for generations to come. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, YBhg. Could you please stay there? Yes, here. And Miss Marianne and Dato. We will now observe 1 minute of silence in accordance with the United Nations stipulation for all member countries around the world to observe this 1 minute of silence for peace. Here, each of us can say our individual prayers in our hearts for peace in the world. 1 minute from now.